Imagine this. You walk into the room, and something in her energy feels off. She's there, but not really there. Her eyes meet yours, but only for a second, just long enough to confirm you exist. Not long enough to feel anything. That's the moment most men ignore. But it's the beginning of a shift. A silent warning. A quiet collapse of something you haven't noticed yet. Respect. You think love is what keeps a woman with you. You think connection, or history, or shared memories hold the bridge together. But the truth is painfully simple. When respect fades, everything else becomes temporary. Most men see the final explosion, the breakup, the distance, the coldness, the emotional shutdown. But they miss the early signs, the invisible cracks, forming long before she walks away. And once you learn to spot them, you'll never be confused again. Sign 1. Her tone changes before her words do. She doesn't yell. She doesn't argue. She doesn't fight. She just becomes dismissive. Short replies. Emotionless MMHM. The kind of tone someone uses when they're interacting with a stranger in public, not with a man they admire. Tone always shifts before behavior does. Sign 2. She stops seeking your input. A woman who respects you asks for your thoughts, your opinion, your perspective. Not because she's weak, but because she values your mind. When that respect slips, she no longer considers your insight meaningful. She begins to operate as if your presence doesn't affect her world. Sign 3. She becomes comfortable disappointing you. When respect is alive, she cares about how her actions land. But when it fades, she starts canceling on you, making promises she doesn't keep. Showing up late without apology, not out of cruelty, but because your disappointment no longer matters. Sign 4. She compares you silently. Not out loud, not directly, but in her mind, she begins measuring you against other men, their decisiveness, their presence, their ambition, their emotional strength. The moment comparison begins, attraction is already shifting. Sign 5. Your boundaries become optional. She interrupts you. She ignores what you say. She pushes past the limits you used to hold firmly. Respect isn't about control, it's about how she treats the space you claim in the world. When she starts stepping over it, she's telling you she no longer feels your strength. Sign 6. She stops reacting emotionally. The opposite of love isn't hate, it's emotional indifference. When she stops getting upset, stops feeling, stops reacting, stops engaging, that's not peace. That's emotional withdrawal. Silence is the final stage before departure. But here's the truth nobody tells you. Women don't lose respect suddenly. It happens slowly, quietly, in layers. A moment here, a moment there. Until one day she wakes up and realizes something inside her has fallen. And the brutal part, by the time you notice it, she's already been gone emotionally for weeks. So the real question isn't why did she lose respect? The real question is, what shifted in you that allowed it? Because respect isn't given, it's maintained. Not through force, not through dominance, not through fear, but through presence, clarity, and self-consistency. A woman respects a man when his actions match his words, when his boundaries mean something, when he knows who he is and doesn't shape-shift to keep her comfortable, when he leads himself first. Losing her respect usually happens when you start abandoning yourself, when you begin over-explaining, when you start apologizing for your needs, when you react emotionally instead of responding consciously, when you trade your standards for temporary peace. Because here's the paradox. A woman doesn't walk away because you're too strong. She walks away because you stopped being the man she respected in the beginning. So if the signs are appearing, don't panic. Don't chase. Don't confront her with emotional desperation. Instead, shift the focus back to yourself, back to your center, back to the version of you she once admired, not because of her, but because that version was real. Reclaim your boundaries. Reclaim your discipline. Reclaim your calm. Respect returns the moment you stop performing and start embodying. And here is the truth that will either break you or strengthen you. A woman can love a man she no longer respects, but she cannot stay with him. Respect is the oxygen of attraction. Lose it and everything suffocates. Hold it and everything grows.